Hi everyone, I'm Ross McRae, Group HR Director and Deputy MD at the Ryan Group. Welcome to our presentation series on off-payroll working. This is number 5, and in this presentation we will focus on the key issues that subcontractors and their clients should consider when they're assessing a subcontractor's engagement status for tax purposes. In this session I want to cover some self-employment best practice in relation to company administration, business risk and insurance. As we've established in previous presentations, the responsibilities for assessing a personal service company employment status for tax purposes moves to the end user from April 2020. That's where the end user is a public sector body or a medium or large sized organisation. This means that where a personal service company is servicing a small business, the responsibility remains with the personal service company rather than move to the end user. Therefore, the following observations that are primarily directed at contractors may at times be equally applicable to the end user. When looking at a contractor's tax status from an IR35 perspective, one of the first questions you should ask is whether they are treated as a disguised employee by the end user of the service provision. It's important to understand what the true nature of the relationship with the end user is. To do this, the contractor should consider whether they retain a business-to-business relationship or whether the focus is on the worker provided by the contractor as an individual rather than the overall service. Services should not be linked to a specific individual, otherwise the end user may be exercising control on who's carrying out the work. Check whether the contract worker requires holiday approved by the client or whether they sign timesheets or approve expenses for client staff. If they do, they're likely to be supervised or exercising control on the staff of another business. Either points towards being in scope of IR35. Should also give some consideration to spending authority and whether the supplied worker has any formal delegated authorisation to act on behalf of the client. This would be more typical of a staff employee and unusual for a third-party worker to have. You should also have a look at how subcontracted workers are differentiated from staff. They should be treated differently and may not have the same levels of access to systems, perhaps buildings or facilities. Some other details to consider include whether third-party personnel are listed in organisational charts or issued with business cards or personal protective equipment. Again, all unusual practices with workers provided by subcontracting firms. So continuing with this theme, I've listed some more critical questions that you should know the answers to on the screen, including are contractors listed on internal telephone directories, are suppliers providing different services or working from the same job description that staff use? Is any contract worker an office holder, perhaps with a substantive position? If they are, they'll immediately be in scope of IR35. This middle section of questions we've covered in previous presentations. They are also critical and worth assessing. But what about the last 4 questions on the screen? Can contractors refuse work? Mutuality of obligations should not exist where subcontracted workers are obliged to undertake work or the end user provide it. This is a statutory right for genuine employees only. Are vendors able to work for other businesses? Businesses can choose who they provide services to. There should be no restrictions on this unless perhaps there's a genuine conflict of interest. Was any third-party labour previously staffed with the end user? Clearly, having been staffed with the client previously, particularly if the worker is doing the same or a similar activity and has not had a break in service, will suggest a disguised employee status for tax purposes. Do suppliers have or use their own equipment? We've established earlier in our presentation series that the provision of equipment is a strong pointer towards self-employment. Conversely, if a client provides equipment required to undertake the services that have been subcontracted, this will suggest a strong relationship between the worker and the end user, and thus there's good reason for these arrangements. For contractors, how you manage your business is important. If you think of it as a business rather than a job, and your relationship with your end user as a typical business-to-business relationship, then that'll help frame your thinking. On this slide, I've listed a range of typical business considerations that all assist demonstrating that an individual is in business for themselves. Do you have your own stationery or use your clients'? Having your own office certainly helps. Some choose to have their company registered at their accountant's office, but I think that your home, where you can have your own office, is a better option. We've talked about equipment in previous presentations, and we know that this helps, even if it's just a laptop, some software and a photocopier. Having other staff clearly demonstrates independence, and undertaking personal training demonstrates business investment, expanding services and self-determination. Tracking opportunities, planning projects and other business interactions is also important for your business. Using a recruitment firm's a good method to demonstrate that additional business opportunities are being pursued, and these could be tracked in, say, a company diary. More generally, on the business development front, organisations are typically in business to grow and expand. So you really need to have a think about how you promote your business. Do you have a website? Do you have a social media presence? And by that I mean a company social media presence, not a personal social media presence. Do you even have a list of services that you offer to clients? Turning now to business risk. Commercial and contractual risk is important, but there are other questions that you can ask about your business, including: do you retain a detailed document of agreed services that you're providing? What are the consequences of providing poor services? Do you have multiple clients and track your business opportunities? Are you comfortable that you control the work that your company undertakes? Do you have justifiable reasons for anything that may point towards being part and parcel of your client's organisation? Do you genuinely understand the risks your business is exposed to, and can you document or evidence them? There are no right or wrong answers on risk, but I hope I've shown how important it is for you to be able to demonstrate that your business carries more risk than a staff job. Another opportunity for contractors to demonstrate that they're in business in their own right is to carry appropriate company insurances. Vendors are likely to already carry liability insurances, particularly employer and public liability, which are statutory obligations, and I'd hope that most end users would expect such arrangements to be in place. As an employer, contractors have the legal responsibility towards their employees, customers and the public, and they risk being held accountable and being sued if an employee or a member of the public is injured as a result of negligence or breach of duty. Liability insurance is designed to pay and compensate and cover legal costs that are incurred if an employer is found to be at fault. EL and PL cover are typically bought at levels of 5 and 2 million respectively. Professional indemnity insurance protects against compensation sought by a client if there are mistakes or a company has been found to be negligent. It also covers legal costs and is often used where a business is selling detailed knowledge or skills, such as where a representative is a technical authority on a subject matter. PI insurance should be retained for some time after project completion, as claims can take some time to come through. There are many other insurances out there to protect businesses, and that includes the likes of directors' liability, product liability, property ownership, pollution. There's even insurance to cover for IR35. So it's a worthwhile exercise assessing what insurance needs your business has. So that's it for the 5th presentation. The next one in the series looks at the responsibilities that pass to the end user post-April 2020, obviously excluding small businesses. Thank you.